Matthew Graham, can you hear us okay? Give him a minute. Maybe you're still trying to connect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually that's good connection.
Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, just... Everybody's muted upon entry, and then I go through and unmute them like with this, and then that way they can mute and unmute themselves once they get home.
I think I need to put like lunch as an appointment.
Yeah, you do. Start at 11:30.
I remember to do the challenge, the brown bag challenge tomorrow.
It's cold in here. I've had my heater going in the morning.
I've had my heater.
Oh, it's cold in here. Which is what it was yesterday when we had that meeting.
What is it, 71?
71.
Isn't it interesting that's what it is in my office, and I've never had it on 71.
Well, yesterday during that fire safety meeting, I thought, is my
consider a request for a rezone for Callister LLC preliminary plat and grading and drainage plan for C3 subdivision. And that's case numbers RZ2020-0006 and SD 2020-001. And we have several that are, we have one phone user here, and the call-in first numbers are 208890. Would you identify yourself, please?
Yes, this is Matt Graham. I'm having issues with my computer audio, so I'm just calling in. So. Okay.
Boy, I know how that goes. That happened to me last week. So, Matt Graham. Okay. Do you wish to speak, Matt?
Yes, please.
Okay. David Callister, I see you are on. Do you wish to speak?
No, I'm the applicant. Matt Graham is representing me.
Okay, so you won't weigh in. It's easy for us to swear you in, so then if you need to answer a question or weigh in. But it's up to you.
That'd be fine.
Okay,
yeah, that'd be fine.
We'll go ahead and swear you in. Okay, let me see. Who else do I have here? Matt Graham, who's on the phone. We got that. David Callister. Rory Hendricks.
We're here.
Okay, do you wish to speak?
No.
Okay. Have I missed anybody? I think I got them all. Julianne Shaw, you are there.
Here. Chairman White.
She's a planner for Canyon County DFD, and you will be handling this. So we're going to have Monica swear you in. So it's Matt Graham, David Callister, and those are the only two that wish to speak, right?
Tricia Nilsson, Julianne Shaw, David Callister, and Matt Graham. Do you swear or from the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? So help you God?
I do.
I do.
The others are muted.
Okay. We're missing an I do here.
Yeah, I do.
Okay. We're good to go. Julianne.
Chairman White?
Yes.
Thank you, Chairman White. This is a request to rezone 32.15 acre parcel from A, agricultural, to R1, single-family residential, for a parcel located on the southeast corner of Lansing Lane and Quail Haven Way, between Foothill Road and Purple Sage Roads, in Middleton's impact area, but does not currently border city, gosh, I can't talk today, border city limits. The applicant's letter of intent, Exhibit 2 in your staff report, indicates that the zone change is being requested for the purpose of platting additional building parcels. The surrounding area contains a mix of agricultural and residentially zoned property. Canyon County Comprehensive Plan future land use indicates residential development is expected in this area. The City of Middleton's 2019 Comprehensive Plan also designates it to be residential in the future. The subject property contains primarily moderately and least suited soil types. The property contains a portion of prime farmland if irrigated. The proposed zone change is more appropriate than the current zoning designation of agricultural. There are 34 residential subdivisions in the vicinity. New septic systems will require approval from Southwest District Health Department, as will domestic wells. Irrigation is proposed to be via individual domestic wells limited to 1/2 acre per Idaho Department of Water Resources regulations. The extension of Quail Hollow Drive will serve for access to the proposed subdivision, and no other accesses are proposed. Once a decision for the rezone is determined by the Board of County Commissioners, We will hear a presentation, I will give it to you, for the proposed subdivision. I will now stand for any questions regarding the rezone.
Mr. Van Beek?
Madam Chair, Julianne, can you talk a little bit in this area? I heard you give a report on the topography in that area, but there's indications in the staff report that there's some grading issues, and I was not able to read the lot numbers that were associated, and I noticed you've had a map up here. Do you have something where you can show us where the grading issues on those lots are located and what that looks like? There's some indication for some hillside development. Maybe you can put that information on the record.
The project does not have any, Commissioner Van Beek, the project does not have any slopes greater than, let me see if I can get this. Sorry. I forgot to switch my visuals. Okay. There's your soil map, which shows you that the soils are not great for farming. And the map on the right shows the subject property and the surrounding subdivisions. I don't really have a topo map. I'm sure I can find one for us if you give me a second.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Do you want to just have her present on the plat now and then answer questions on both the rezone and the plat?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think she might have exhibits on the plat.
Okay.
Better answer your questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you get that, Julianne? Yeah.
I did. Thank you, Director Nielsen. So this request is now to subdivide the 32.15 acre parcel. The proposed preliminary plat contains 29 lots, 26 buildable, and 3 common lots. The board can approve conditionally, modify, or deny the preliminary plat. The reasons for such action will be shown in the Commissioner's minutes. The reasons for action shall specify the ordinance and standards used in evaluating the application, which is in your staff report. Recommendations for conditions of approval that would minimize adverse conditions, if any. The reasons for recommending the approval, conditional approval, modification, or denial. If denied, what actions, if anything, the applicant can take to remedy the situation. I don't have a topo. Let's see. Okay.
Madam Chair, it's exhibit 14, I think, in the subdivision package. The contour map.
In the rezone packet, not the. Is that correct, Director?
I have the P&Z package that I'm going off of, so. And it was it listed under the subdivision report as exhibit 14 contour map.
Yep.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys find out? Good. Thank you,
Yeah.
Director. Do you want me to pull that up?
Yes.
I'm still kind of slow with this broken wrist. Sorry, guys. Does that show enough of it for you?
Yes, that's the contour map. In the, yeah, on our screens we can see.
It'll depend on whether or not the area that's got the slope issues, where they've talked about hillside development in the TNO report is shown on the map. I have okay, mine's just partial. Sorry, on my laptop. I got it. Thanks, Julianne.
You bet. So in that'll conclude my presentation of the rezone and the subdivision, unless there are more questions.
Well, can you answer the question, Julianne, on where the slope is located? I mean, I see the contour map, but tell us what that means and where that mitigation is going to happen. Because part of that report indicates that they'll try to get it to 6%. They're not sure. And it identifies lots that will be affected, but I can't read those. Okay, that would help. Okay, sorry. No, that's fine. Well, the attachment A site plan, that would help if we could locate the lots that would be affected on there. And then as far as the exhibit from T&O Engineers, it's exhibit 2 in the P&D staff report where it's page 2. So exhibit 2, page 2 on the back of that, 3.40% of the subdivision is in terrain having an average slope that exceeds 15%, which triggers the need for hillside development. 5 lots are affected, 3 residential, 1 non-residential, and 1 road. And so, is there a TO engineer?
Yes,
Okay.
he's the presenter, yes. Anything more for Julianne?
Go ahead,
Commissioner
Julianne.
Van Beek, I'm assuming that Matthew Graham will be able to answer that question for us when he gives his presentation.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted one last note. There was a late exhibit that came in regards to Lansing Lane, and there will be a right turn only lane. And then also item number 2, it'd be nice to have them have cut off lighting fixtures.
Madam Chair. And then, Julianne, there was a list of questions that was submitted that you fielded in there. What exhibit number is that?
For the late exhibit? I'm sorry. I couldn't quite hear your question, I'm afraid.
There was a list of questions that was submitted, I think.
Yes.
I wonder, what exhibit number is that?
It is
21. Is there a roundabout that was a proposal that was made by a citizen with a concern, but that is not a part of this plan, is that
correct?
Right?
That's correct, Commissioner. And also the Canyon Highway District won't allow that either.
Thanks for the clarification.
Anything else for Julianne?
Not this time, thank you.
Thanks, Julianne.
You bet. Now I will let Matthew Graham take over.
Okay. I need your name and address, Mr. Graham.
Definitely. Good afternoon. My name is Matthew Graham. I work at 332 North Broadmoor Way in Nampa, Idaho. And I work for TO Engineers. We are the design consultants for the developer on this C3 subdivision. And on behalf of Callister LLC, we have applied for the rezone and preliminary plat for this property. To the next slide, please. The proposed subdivision is located off Lansing Lane between Highway 44 and Purple Sage. More specifically, it's located at the northeast corner of the southeast corner of Lansing Lane and Quailhaven Way, as shown in the this location map. Can you go to the next slide, please? Here's the layout for the proposed subdivision. We've been working with Black Canyon Irrigation, and all of the ditches within the property are going to be piped. The improvements have been submitted to Black Canyon and approved by them, and their easement area is shown in orange on this layout. There have been many comments about traffic and safety in the neighborhood, and they're wanting improvements on Lansing Lane. The developer has indicated to me that he plans to install a northbound turn lane onto Lansing Lane to alleviate those issues that we have with traffic and the concern of the neighbors. Additionally, at the intersection of Sitting Bull Avenue and Quail Haven, there will be a 200-foot radius for better traffic flow in that area. We've received comments from the Canyon Highway District, and we plan on complying with all their requirements. And the developers elected to have all the roads within the subdivision to be private. We are in agreement with the staff report and conditions. And if you could go a couple slides forward, Julianne. Okay, so there was the question about the excuse me, the areas that had the hillside issues. You can see here in this on the preliminary plat, the areas that exceed 15% are shown in gray, and the plan is to try. What the developer wants to do in these areas is for the whole site have very minimal grading to keep the landscape how it is. There will be some grading that will need to take place in order to make the roadways and access to all the lots work. But the intent is to try to avoid these areas as best we can to try to keep it kind of the same way that it currently exists. There is a lot on the southern section. It is a common lot. It has the majority of the slopes that exceed 15%. That is planned to be used for storm drainage in that area. And I would stand for any questions if you guys want to discuss anything further.
Matt, I have a question. This is Commissioner White. The entrance comes in off of Quail Hollow Drive, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Does that road, it's kind of S-like, looks like an S, a big S. Is that following a slope of the land?
Yeah, correct. Yes, it will be.
Okay. Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr. Graham, can you talk a little bit about why they want private roads designated in the subdivision and what the advantages and disadvantages of that are?
I'm sorry, I had a hard time hearing that. Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. They've asked for private roads in the subdivision. What are the advantages and disadvantages of doing that?
So the reason why we have elected to do that is for there's some private roads that we had kind of coming off of that S-shaped road. And we got a comment from the Highway District that they don't want to mix private and public roads. So in order to keep the layout that we have, we've elected to make all the roads private along there. And so we would do our best to, just because of that comment from the Highway District, we've elected to go with private roads. There's some items that the Highway District wouldn't allow. For example, for storm drainage, they're along Buckshot Lane, which is the northernmost road. That area is pretty flat along there, and we would want to use the roadside swales for storm drainage. And actually, it's the one over from there, Julianne. I see where you're pointing. Buckshot Lane. So Canyon County doesn't allow, or the Highway District does not allow you to use the roadside swales for infiltration. They want to use it for conveyance only. So our plan was, since that area is pretty flat in there, we want to use that for the storm water off of that road. And then for the main road that is generally following the lay of the land, the S-shaped curve that should be double shot way Those swales are going to be used for conveyance only, and all the stormwater is planned to go to the common lot there at the end of that cul-de-sac.
Okay. And then I have a question on the access for two lots in the southeast corner. Everything else looks like it touches one of those main roads except for those two. Can you talk about that? It's those two on the southeast border.
Mm-hmm. Correct. So we're providing a driveway easement through there that would provide access to those back lots. It's kind of hard to see in the slide, but there's a dashed line that kind of goes through the lot that's going to the main road, and so there would be a driveway access for those back two lots.
Okay, and then can you talk about the irrigation easement on the eastern property boundary and how that, what your plan is? What I read was that the access has to be developed as those lots sold, but maybe you can give us an overview of what that looks like, how wide that is, and what that will look like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so right now there is a irrigation ditch called the Willow Creek Pump Lateral, and it's for this property at the intersection of Quail Hollow Drive and Sitting Bull. It goes from east to west, and it goes underneath Lansing Lane. From there, it also goes south to provide water to additional customers. And that section's currently piped, and right now the irrigation district is requiring a 25-foot easement over their property. And so that easement's shown there on the preliminary plat so that they have access to get in there for maintenance purposes. I believe, the comment that you're referring to was from a landowner. That road along there, it is privately owned, and it's intended to be used, only by the Black Canyon Irrigation for their maintenance purposes. So that road's not going to be used by the subdivision to get back to the back part of the property. That it's strictly shown as an easement only.
And that is indicated by the dotted lines on the east side of the property.
So there isn't a dotted line on the east side of the property. There is a line west of the property line that shows that easement. The current pipe roughly goes down the property line. I believe it's a little bit east of the property, but Julian, on the
Julian, can you assist him as he's talking and that was helpful when you had those indicators?
I think he controls the screen.
Gotcha.
You'll have to annotate with the tools on the toolbar.
Gotcha. Thank you, Craig. Okay.
Like yesterday, I was blocked out.
Okay. I'm sorry, Mr. Graham. I was hoping to have some visual accompany your comments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, on the final plat for the subdivision that's east of us, they show a 25-foot easement. It's not shown on this preliminary plat, but we do have the additional 25 feet shown on this preliminary plat as requested and required by the Black Canyon Irrigation.
Okay. Madam Chair, I have another question. Can you talk about it sounds like a blind spot that's in the northwest corner at Quail Haven Way and whatever that street is coming up there. And are there plans for you to grade that at all to help with life safety, traffic?
I'm still having a hard time hearing you, but I think your question was, are we doing anything at the intersection of Lansing and Quail Haven for traffic? Is that correct?
Yes.
So there along Lansing Lane, the Highway District has requested that we put in a roadway section that is in compliance with a City of Middleton standard drawing. And so we're planning on doing that. And in addition to that, we're also providing a right-hand turn lane on that road because of the issues that the neighbors have brought up about safety concerns. Having that turn lane in there will help alleviate the traffic congestion and make it a little bit safer for everybody when they're trying to access the subdivision, and also for the other neighbors.
I appreciate you putting that on record. Thank you.
So the Lansing Lane is the 50-mile-an-hour road, correct? I don't recall. It's something similar to that. I think it's down to 45 or 35, just below it. Right as you're driving north on Lansing, there's a little bit of a hill that you come up, and then it kind of the top of the hill is kind of in the middle of that property, that kind of out parcel. And so when you kind of come up over the hill, then it kind of levels off a little bit. And so the issues that people have were that a lot of people come speeding through there, and it just makes things unsafe with people coming up. We don't have any control of the speed limit. Those are set by the highway district. And they just did a reevaluation of this area that I was told, and they've looked at the speed limits and they determined them to be adequate. So we're trying to, with what we have, we're doing everything possible to make it as safe as we can. And so that's why the developers elected to put that turn lane in. Okay. And then another question, I don't know if this is to go to the Keller and Associates. It's Exhibit 4, and it has some conditions in there and one of them is about the swale that you're going to utilize for stormwater.
Yeah, the comments that we received from Keller, we plan to comply with all those and provide a plan for the, I believe the comment was something to the effect of provide a short-term and long-term plan for swale maintenance.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you have no issue with that. You fully intend on meeting the requirements here.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I have a question for either Julianne or Trish, and it's on the mixing roads. Sometimes we get into the weeds on having private roads that are supposed to be maintained. Can you talk about the benefits or expand that conversation a little bit?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Van Beek, we just talked about that at our staff meeting this morning. And it's much easier with plats because our ordinance requires that they be a separate lot. So there's always an owner or someone responsible for the road, whether it be the HOA typically versus a private road that serves the land division. You don't have a plat. The easement may go over multiple properties. So in this case, with the plat, it's much easier to accommodate a private road because it is a separate lot, and there's always going to be an owner of that lot identified by the assessor. There's going to be ownership of that road lot.
And so in the maintenance of that for the future, then all the homeowners in that subdivision would be responsible for maintaining that?
Well, it depends on how they still are required to do a road user maintenance agreement, but there will be an owner of the road lot. If there's an issue with the road, it's clearly identified as someone responsible for that property.
And does this present as problematic to you as opposed to having the highway district maintaining that? I mean,
it's just up to the applicant why they chose to have a private road instead of making it a public road. But our ordinance provides for it. It's just I just say it's easier to monitor and require enforcement of our standards when there's an owner, but it's on one property.
And I guess
versus going over several properties.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, but assigning an owner, I guess maybe I'm just not understanding, so.
Oh, for subdivision, so you'll see so the private roads have to be identified as a separate lot.
Okay.
You know, so there's a lot for a house, there's a lot for the road. And so when that parcel is created, when the plat is recorded and the parcel is recreated, there's an owner of that road lot.
And who is that owner?
I don't know if that's going to be an HOA. I won't know until the final plat is done. And
Okay.
Mr. Graham might know.
Okay, somebody,
Callister, who,
yeah, if somebody could field that question, then, Trish, I have a question, and it comes up regularly, and because it's so much a part of the discussion and the comments that were sent, the concern was traffic, and this does not generate enough trips to warrant a traffic impact study, is what I understood. But can you address the cumulative effect? Because what we have in the county in those developments is a number of independents that might fall below the threshold. We know ITD's behind. Where do we take the cumulative effect of that into consideration?
that's, Madam Chair, Commissioner Van Veen, the Canyon Highway District is in the midst of a transportation plan study of this area of Canyon County. And they have been meeting with our impact fee committee as that study develops a capital improvement plan, a list of projects, and then ultimately gets, the highway district will have, will identify through that study what are the needs, looking at new growth projections for this area. They're obviously working with Compass on that too, so we're, the forecast for this Middleton area, everybody knows is under forecast. An example of that is, I believe their 2019 household estimate almost matched their 2040 forecast.
Wow.
So it's Communities in Motion is being updated. All the demographics are being updated for this area, and that's why Canyon Highway District and Compass are working. So we're all sharing the same forecast, you know, in terms of the amount of households, people, and jobs are in this, you know, northeast portion of Canyon County, because that's the data that drives the transportation model that is used to determine what roadway improvements, you know, where do we have, where do we need capacity, where do we have level of service issues at intersections or roadway segments. So that accounts then for the cumulative effect of all these little decisions. Not in this report, because we know this area is so under forecast, I guess that's the right word. But that's why occasionally, sometimes the applicants don't like it, but we try to introduce the Compass forecast just to know, is it within that or not? It's not, it's just a piece of information. It's not something you would make a whole land use decision on, but it gives that indication so that once a year, the demographic committee, the Compass staff looks at where are decisions a little different than the forecast, and do we need to recalibrate the demographics, because we all want the regional transportation model, you know, to be accurate. So we do that more as just a piece of information, and so when things aren't consistent, that's the model can reflect that decision, so we don't get behind the eight ball with lots of little decisions and we don't know the cumulative impact. So at least once a year we try to see where everything's at, you know, because for the region, we're one entity, but there's, I don't know if I count up all the cities and the counties making land use decisions. Compass has quite the task to look at the cumulative impact of all the separate decisions. So it's I think everybody feels that it's a satisfactory protocol for, you know.
And with that though, Trish,
keeping things in check. Yeah.
It's a timing issue, because if we put the CIP in place once all that's developed, there's no chance to go back and recoup impact fees to help mitigate that and offset the concerns that are there. So do you have any idea how far out that is?
I guess I wouldn't, boy, it's when you see the CIP, and we have a meeting in January, so we'll have a better picture, the need is deep and wide. So the impact fees are just a small portion of satisfying the need for, to help pay for the transportation improvements. We don't yet know what the priorities are. The existing deficits are so great, and those cannot be paid for with impact fees. So
I'm just trying to find a way for the concerns that are expressed, because as a decision-making body, we get that question a lot. How can we continue to approve developments when we're way over capacity? So I just want a way to be able to answer that. That's a good answer.
Yeah, we just don't have the plan yet, and that will show what the plan is to deal with traffic over the next 20 years. So,
thank you.
I just want to state that Commissioner Dale has joined us, and we just finished with, we're finishing up with Matthew Graham, and he is a TO engineer's report. Okay, so that gets you up with us on that. Anything else, Mr. Graham?
I don't have anything else to add at this time.
Okay, Commissioner Van Beek, any further?
Not at this time, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Graham. David Callister, please. Name and address?
David Callister, 2873 West Wind Drive in Eagle.
Okay.
I was just going to be available for questions. Yeah, I was just going to be available for questions. I am not part of the presentation.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this project is located north of Foothill Road, is that right? Up on the bluff, is that right? And do we have a site map, Julianne? I thought there was one in here, but showing the location.
It is, Commissioner Van Beek. It is, trying to find it. Hold on a second.
I think it's number 6. Yeah. So what's north of this to Purple Sage Road, and west of this to Turner Drive and South Lane? That's all still agricultural ground, is that right?
I'm pulling that up now, Commissioner Van Beek.
Madam Chair, Exhibit 8 kind of shows the subdivision. There is some ag land, but this area is kind of surrounded by subdivision. That helps.
So that light blue
Context,
northwest, and that indicates subdivisions. That's not mobile home parks, okay? It's hard to tell.
Now, if you look at the, went to the aerial map of it on the Google Maps or whichever, the iMap that you got on here too, and you can see there's lots of homes all the way around there.
Okay, thank you.
I think that it says within 1 mile of the subject property, there are 34 plotted subdivisions for a total of 583 residential lots. And the average size of the lots within 1 mile is 1.67 acres.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then the average lot size on this is about an acre. What's the smallest lot size in here? And those hillside lots, they still have adequate room to build and to have their septics, and I'm sure that's been vetted out by Southwest District Health, but I guess that's what I'm interested in, is what the smallest lot size and then the largest lot size would be in there.
Well, it's an R1, right? So it has to be minimum of 1.
Average.
Average minimum.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what.
Okay.
The average, okay.
Mr. Graham might be able to answer that. I don't have a full plat to it.
And that means that we could have smaller lots, but overall, the average is 1 acre. Yes. Okay, thank you. And then while Mr. Graham's looking for that, Trish, we had the fire flow discussion yesterday and the comments from the Middleton Fire District are in there, but planning and zoning did not add anything that would require what they have as comments in there, that 1,500 CFS or CFN. I'm just stating that to the record.
Yeah, that's good.
Madam Chair, Mr. Ramsey, yeah, the exhibit 15 to the subdivision is a comment from Middleton Fire.
Yes.
And kind of at the bottom of it, it was any future building on these properties. So it's not a comment on the plat per se, but they're just noting the access and water to essentially homes supply. So
help me out with that then, because
they didn't ask us to add any conditions on that.
okay, but would future homeowners who buy in there be held to that? And can you said exhibit 15?
Correct. How the fire district does that is, I think we're just putting them on notice, but that's not a process that our ordinance, unless we put a condition on it.
And when we left that meeting yesterday, what we indicated that was because we had not, so I don't, again, want the county to be in a position where we're caught between a legislative requirement mandate for the fire districts and the fire districts. I don't want to be in
our ordinance, when someone applies for a building permit, we'll look at where the house is and we will look at the access requirement. You know, if the house is more than 150 feet, these are kind of large lots. Then we'll have the fire district review the access to that actual house, wherever it's going to sit on the lot, make sure it meets.
And that's commensurate with
access standards.
Yeah, yesterday was access, but the fire.
We can't require residential sprinklers. So
okay.
Yeah.
And then, Mr. Graham, did you find the average lot, or the smallest and the largest lot size on this development?
Yes. So, but right now, the smallest lot size is 1 acre, and
okay.
the largest lot size is, I think it's 1.37 acres. And they all kind of vary between the numbers.
And what's the square footage or the available buildable portion of that that's on the hillside? You have a common lot, but there's other lots in there that are affected by the slope. So can you just give the board the assurance that there's adequate room for the people to build? I'm looking at exhibit 3 that you identified earlier, the property south. It's in the south west corner of that. So you have the common lot that's right above that to the north of the southwest. What's the remaining area in there on the lot?
Yeah, we've looked at the layout, and we believe that there's enough room to build houses on these lots. Right now, the areas that are sloped. We believe that the areas are just going to remain kind of look like the natural surrounding area. And if you look at Google Earth of the subdivision that's just east of us, they have a small portion that is developed, but much of the property is still kind of the native landscaping vegetation that's out there.
Okay, and it looks like I could. Go ahead.
So that's the vision of this, is to look and feel similar to the adjacent subdivision to the east. We want the developers indicated that he wants that everything to feel as though that it fits in the area, and that they weren't separate subdivisions, and that they look like they were designed as though that they were one.
Okay, and then that lot I was referencing, Julianne, if you could go back to that map of Mr. Graham, whichever one is controlling the screen. It looks like, I can't read it on my staff report, but it looks like it's 1.65 acres, that southwest portion. So if even roughly half of that would still, I guess, give you 3/4 of an acre to put a home. allowed.
You know, if you look at, this might help a little bit, Madam Chair. If you look at the Exhibit 14, you've got the contour map there. And the majority of this is, there's a circle, there's a center pivot circle on there. And if you look at the lower southwest corner you're talking about, between those lines there, there's only about a 10 feet rise, 2530 to 2540. That's not a whole lot of hillside to have to worry about. The lowest to the highest, it's 25 feet difference. You know, that's clear at the other end of the lot. There's, you know, those are totally buildable. That's
Okay.
That's not an obstacle there.
Thank you, Commissioner Daly.
If you look at the upper end of it, the northern end of it, there's not a whole lot of slope up there. That's pretty, they're very easily buildable there as well.
And then just one more question on the road. Can you address, Mr. Graham, are you going to level out that section of road that's got that slope?
Yeah.
Maybe you said that, I missed it.
Yeah, sorry about that. So that roadway, we're trying to follow the general lay of the land as much as possible. And so for that one section of road, we will need to do some grading to make it to work. But the intent of this project is to minimize the amount of grading as much as possible. And but yeah, that will have to be adjusted to make sure it's safe for the future residents to access their lots.
Thank you.
One other question I have too is, we have one comment from Kramer, and it says that they are really wanting to, they wonder, are you going to use a dark sky in the lighting? You've kind of indicated that that's probably a possibility because you want this to maintain that natural setting.
Yeah, I would have to defer to Mr. Callister on that question.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Callister, what is your feeling on that, the dark sky?
Can you hear me? Because it looks like I'm blocked still.
We hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we don't intend to include a block sky provision in our CNRs. If the homeowners association would like to pursue that, then we'll allow them to do that on their own accord.
Okay, very good, thank you. Any other questions for Mr. Graham or Mr. Callister? Thank you both. So I have no one else signed up to speak. Okay, yep. So I'll make a motion that we close public testimony.
Second.
Moved and seconded to close public testimony. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We've addressed the concerns as they came in and noted the agencies' responses to different things with regard to their requirements, and that I can see with and they had, they indeed said that the recommendations by Keller engineers would all be addressed, so there's no issue or no problem with that. And I think I particularly liked, we're going to keep the feel of the area here with this subdivision. It's not going to be something that is New York in Marsing, okay? It's going to be, we're going to look, all the rest of the people around there are still going to be home, so I like this.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
And I'm going to support your comments. I intuitively like the design that they've included for roadways. Sometimes they're real blocky and not creative, but there are little takeoffs in these cul-de-sacs that make it unique and interesting. The minimum lot size is 1 acre, and it appears to just be another development. That's the way that that is going in the city of Middleton. So I appreciate that these are not just tract homes, they're going to be nice homes. We trust that will provide more choice for people that really like that area. And we've vetted this application with lots of questions and tried to vet out to the best of our ability and with the authority that's granted to us for land use decisions on how that will play out for the developer and the surrounding residents. I'll support.
And Madam Chair, looking this over, I did my homework on this one because I'm interested in this area. It is a rapidly expanding residential base out in there. And if you look at this particular development, it's bordered on two sides by already existing subdivisions. To the north and to the west, there is open ground, but then you go very far up there and you start running into some more subdivisions. And so there's active farming going on still out in that area. But the way this is going, this is a high growth area in between Middleton and Star, and I'm not opposed to it. I think it's going to be a good subdivision.
Is there, can we tell, is there enough of a slope on the S road?
Which ones?
On the S road down through the middle, is there enough of a slope there that could be a sledding hill?
I don't think so.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Family. Oh, well.
Yeah, that goes, let me see. Well, there could be, because that is going up the hill. It's about a 25-foot rise from the bottom corner up to here.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that'd be a nice little sledding hill.
Okay, there you go.
Assuming we ever get snow again.
This is, okay, I'm ready for a motion on this. Oh, Tricia.
Just saw something that I want to kind of improve upon.
Okay.
Condition number 8, where it says lot 20, I believe that's the one in the southwest corner, has slope on it. But it's a resident, it's not the common lot, it's directly built.
Oh, okay.
Condition 8 says lot 20 shall have a building envelope. To provide some wiggle room for that lot owner in the future, I might suggest we have a building envelope or a plat note requiring a lot grading and engineering plan. The concern is, you know, at the time of a plat, you don't know where the lot owner is going to put their house. And the building envelope is actual no-build. But if they comply with our hillside or for that lot, then they have an engineered grading and drainage plan, then maybe we don't need to call out a no-build. Right. It would provide a little more flexibility to that future lot owner. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Than a hard and fast no-build?
Yeah, I would think so too, because that's, you know, I look at the contours in there, like I pointed out earlier.
Yeah.
There's only 10 feet of rise.
We're not talking 45 degree slope or anything.
Yeah.
They might be able to build there if with a grading plan at the time of they build on
I wouldn't want to put a restriction on that because you can build into that hillside, make it really nice.
They need to do the engineering report.
Right.
And that's worked in Albion Acres and a couple other. And the builders kind of like to have the heads up so that they can bid the construction accurately, knowing that their slope and what they're getting into.
How would you propose?
Well, I would just say, or have a plat note requiring individual grading plan for lot 20 at the time of building.
Okay.
And Trish, what are you reading from? Because you look like you have something that I don't.
Did not get a copy of your report, but I'm looking at the findings of fact, exhibit 1 for the plat. And it's in
That's in this here, probably here, right?
So.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that in the staff report, so I want to make sure.
No, it's just the decision, the attachment, the actual findings.
Conditions of approval.
Usually exhibit 1 to the staff report, but and it's for the subdivision, not the rezone.
Okay, now I'm looking at that. You said it was number 8?
Yeah, I don't know if Julianne wants to weigh in on that, but it just provides, we just run into issues with future property owners when we have a no-build
Yeah.
Unless there's a really, really good reason for it, you know, something.
That's not, is that?
Can we get a copy of that?
C3 subdivision,
Yeah, look at.
0011, is it in that?
Yeah.
Is that the right one?
Commissioner White and Director Nielsen. Yeah,
Oh,
that was,
Condition 11, I'm sorry.
Okay.
You must have.
And Trish, I'm scrambling. I don't know that
Here, I'll show you.
Condition 11 there.
Yeah.
Subdivision number 3.
It's right here, it's, conditional 11.
but I don't have that. I don't
think we had it in
Trying to
there.
figure out what's the reason. Maybe it's, oh, there it is. There we go. Sorry.
No worries.
Purple paper. So it. Condition. Okay.
I don't know. This looks like a copy of the rezone.
I don't know.
Well, I want to be able to look at this before
Yeah.
we make a motion on that. So this is not,
What you've got there on given to us right there, that Pam's got, has that condition in there, but it's not in this one book.
Not in the book, yeah.
then I would want
Yeah.
to either take a recess and get a copy so that I understand what I'm
Yeah.
making a motion
Yeah.
on.
Well, we're talking about the replacing that condition with the wording that you've given.
I understand, but there's 11 conditions of approval that I haven't looked
Director
at yet.
Nielsen.
Yeah.
That condition was in the planning and zoning, exhibits. And I discussed it with, staff here, and they said, yeah, you can't do that. So I took it out.
No, it's not, it's in the one that you provided Monica. This is in the condition to be signed, the findings to be signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a mistake in that one.
So did you intend to remove, are the findings not correct then?
So there will
The
not be,
findings are not correct.
So I think Commissioner White there was saying, I think what I understood is that condition 11 as stated in, that, if you got it down there, should not be in there.
Well, we need a,
Well, I think we need to just maybe defer this to another date.
yes,
I'm not clear on what
Okay.
you've been given. So there seems to be a discrepancy in the staff report and what's to be signed.
and yeah, I don't want to sign that. I want to know.
I'm not clear on what,
especially if it's going into
What has
as a
changed?
plot note.
Yeah.
between the staff report and the,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
So why don't we have what's today, Tuesday? Do we have anything Friday?
Leslie's out on Friday. Thursday, we have, here's 10.
And then we have meetings at 1:30 to 2:30, so I think
What time, what's the hearing at 10?
10 o'clock hearing is
Matt
White Barn
Wilkie.
Real Estate.
Oh, yeah, we need the whole time on that. That's 2 hours. Yeah.
So what do
So
we,
later in the afternoon, whatever you
what
have.
do we have at 1:30?
Compass executive meeting?
You have to be there for that?
Well, no, it's here, it's Zoom.
Oh, okay. Because this will,
This won't take long.
yeah.
And then,
We could do that at 3 o'clock easily.
Madam Chair, I would like to also remove number 6, because what we said at the end of the open meeting yesterday was that because there is not a clear understanding of the,
Could you read it?
yes, the development shall comply with Middleton Rural Fire District requirements, Exhibit 5. Exhibit 5 requires 1,500 gallons of fire flow on that. It's what we said we were not going to enforce as a board yesterday, so I object to that condition.
Yeah. I think I want to have a chance to review all the conditions.
Yeah.
We can bring that
Okay,
back
I
to you.
just wanted to put that out there, that I'm not comfortable with that one.
Okay, so it'll be Friday? Thursday at 3.
Thursday at 3.
Okay. I move that we continue the hearing for SD 2020-0011 until Thursday, December 10th at 3 o'clock.
Second.
Moved in second to continue this public hearing to Thursday at 3. All in
Commissioner
favor?
White,
Yes.
we need to address the rezone also.
Yeah, we'll do it all on Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. So, and everybody, Mr. Graham, Mr. Callister, you are clear with that? We're continuing this until 3 o'clock this Thursday, day after tomorrow.
That sounds great. Thank you so much for everything.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
That would conclude this meeting.
Thursday.
12:10,
12:10.
3 p.m.
12:10, 3.
12:10, 3 p.m. Yep.
25.
Yeah.
You what?
I think that's Friday.
You doing what?